Hi everyone. Beautiful night here in Kaohsiung by the canal. Not the Love River Canal, but the canal out by where my wife's parents live. Hi everybody. MJ here. I'm incognito at the moment. From the front camera. Sorry about the little clamp arm here. We can go like this and get rid of that. There you go. That's a better shot. How's everyone doing this evening? Look at this. Daniel, how are you? Always a pleasure to see you, sir. All right. Nice to have you with us. We're live here on YouTube. Welcome to the replay for those of you who couldn't join us on the live broadcast. Just hanging out down here, you know, with my family. Yeah, it is a nice image, isn't it? It's a nice image over to the right too, but I've got my little clamp in the way and you can't really, you know, I mean, you can't enjoy it with that clamp in the way, but that's okay. Yeah, it's not a lake or a river, it's a canal, and they do have fish in it, and you can eat them. It's cleaned up now. Years ago, this used to be really dirty, but Kaohsiung, which is the southernmost metropolis in Taiwan, has really cleaned up their act in the last 10 years. So I'd like to say hi to everybody. I'm drinking some cheap scotch, because you know me, I'm a cheap date. Actually, I went to the local store here and found a cheap peated scotch for about 10 bucks. And I'm drinking it with some soda water and ice and just hanging out. Yeah. This reminds me, because this time last year I was here and I was using Periscope. And I had my acoustic guitar with me, and I just started playing with the, you know, acoustic guitar in the background with this in the foreground. It was fun, but here, you know, there's too much traffic noise. Like you hear the scooters going by and stuff. So, anyway, let me say hi. Hi guys. Got all kinds of lights out here. I'm right by a street, as you can see, and my wife's parents' house is back over here. This is like a retirement community, and over in this building, it shows over in this building here. Although, even though it is a retirement community, there are a number of younger couples living here. The apartments, they're actually houses. You buy them. Of course, if you want to rent them, that's, you know, somebody else owns them. But if you buy them, they're anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000 US dollars, so they're very affordable. And they're 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and a living room with a pretty decent sized kitchen, and there's a laundry room off the kitchen. It's not bad. I got to tell you, the layout's pretty good. Can't complain. But let me show you this again. I think that's better than looking at me, but that's just my opinion. Now, I was hoping Dave in Osaka would join us in a few minutes, because I want to talk a little bit about Dave. All good stuff, all good stuff. He's got some interesting things going on. He's going to do a Periscope broadcast. He was going to do it on Friday night Eastern time. Hey Dave, which would be Saturday morning in Asia, but he has to postpone it. Dave, if you got some more information, I'd appreciate it. But there apparently is a weather front coming in, and he has to postpone it for one day. So he'll be doing it that'll be 10 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern, that's daylight time in the United States, and that'll be 10 p.m. here in Asia. And Osaka is in Japan. Now, there's another thing that Dave has going that I want to tell you guys about. No, this is not the Love River, Caspar. Hi, how you doing? This is not the Love River. Wow, I see 3 people making comments, but it only shows 2 people live. That's kind of strange. This is not the Love River. This is a, I can show you on the map later, Caspar, but this is near the, this is near my parents, my wife's parents' house. Dave says, no. Uh-oh, what's going on? Did I say something wrong? I want to talk about the Wi-Fi box. No, I mean I want to talk about the Wi-Fi box. Is that okay? Whoa. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about the other stuff. I don't talk about confidential stuff. Yeah. Sorry about that. My clamps decided that it wants to sag. Okay, let's do this. We'll just let it sag and we'll do that. Sorry about that, guys. Oh. Well, you can, but let me do this. Sorry. Okay. You can see me, but I thought this was better. I thought it was better than looking at me. Now, oh my goodness. You know, I hate when this happens. This always happens to me. I get a really nice setup, and in the middle of it, hey Shirley, in the middle of it, it starts goofing up on me. And I'm sorry about the puke cam. Okay. Just trying to get rid of the clamp. Here I am. Now there's a company that Dave's working with that has these, everybody knows I use a Wi-Fi box. They rent these little Wi-Fi boxes. The Avatar? Oh, okay, cool. You mean the thumbnail? Yeah. Just from here. And there's a company that Dave's working with that he's helping to promote them. Now let me tell you about this. They have negotiated around the world really good Wi-Fi rates for mobile Wi-Fi. So what you do is you rent the Wi-Fi box for cheap money. Now the interesting thing is I asked Dave how much the no, I'm not wearing a batik tonight. The interesting thing is I asked Dave what it would cost for, just for example, for me to rent a Wi-Fi box to use in Taiwan per month, and it was $10 a month cheaper than what I'm paying normally. And normally my normal everyday rate for internet here on a mobile connection is astonishingly cheap. People all over the world are really jealous because we have really high-speed internet that's super cheap here in Taiwan. So contact Dave, because Dave has an arrangement where you can actually get a discount on top of that. So if you live in some of these countries where, I know for example in Bali, Shirley, you can't get an unlimited internet, right? It depends on where you're at. So contact Dave and Dave can give you a quote on it. And he'll give you a link to sign up for it. It's pretty cheap. Really cool. Like, I'm going to go to the United States pretty soon, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rent one of those boxes, even though I have my own box, you know, my own Wi-Fi box. It just makes sense. So yeah, you can't get unlimited. Yep, it's what they want to do. Hi everybody. Hi Shirley. Everybody knows Shirley, right? Oh, thank you, Dave. I forgot that. On Dave's Twitter profile, Dave in Osaka, he has the link, so check that out. Yeah. But I'm not going to tell everybody where he's going to go on Sunday, our time in Asia, Saturday in Eastern USA and North America. But he showed me a picture, and you're going to want to look at it. It's really amazing, really cool. And I like stuff like that. So how's everybody doing? What's on your mind? Any questions? Any comments you want to make? We're just hanging out here. It's a beautiful night. It's a little bit warm. It's been cool. And it's been cool up in Hsinchu, but down here it's hot. Yeah, Shirley says she's interested in investing in that business, but there's too much competition. Yes, there is. There's a lot of companies doing that. I guess if you got your foot in the door originally, you know, when it first started out, it would be okay. But yeah, now it's saturated. Now there's a beautiful full moon right up here. Let me do this. I'm gonna take a chance and handhold this and see if I can get this. Come on. Change camera. There you go. A little bit of haze. There we are. Beautiful full moon. Look at that. Look at this handheld scope, man. Like a gimbal, huh? Look at that. Wow. Oh, that's funny. And so, no, actually not. But we are going to barbecue on Saturday night, so fly me to the moon. No, I'm in Kaohsiung. I'm not going back to Hsinchu until Monday. So we're down here in Kaohsiung, and right over here in this area on Saturday night, 2 nights from now, we're gonna barbecue. So I can run the camera, the YouTube camera, and scope that while we're barbecuing. That'll be pretty cool. I just got to make sure it's cool. Sometimes my wife gets mad and you understand. Sometimes my wife gets mad if I want to turn the camera on. She doesn't want people to see her and stuff. You know, but Phoenix, of course, you guys have seen Phoenix. Like when I was in Bali, Phoenix was all too happy to come on and talk with everybody. She loves it. So now tonight, no beer. I call this, by the canal. It's not late night, it's by the canal. This is, what do they call this? Glen Scanlon or Scanlon. Yeah, you guys love her too. Thank you very much. This is a cheap peated, it says. See, it says peated, a cheap peated scotch. Let me do this. And it was like $10 for this bottle. And so I add a little soda water to it, and it doesn't taste bad. It's got a little bit of a smoky flavor to it, so it's not too bad. But it's nothing like the Japanese Suntory whiskeys, and of course the other whiskeys that I frequently get. So yeah, the bottle's almost empty already. Well, I got it yesterday, so we're drinking on it for 2 days. What was I going to say? I think I'm going to the Cowboy Bar tomorrow night. You guys want to go with me? I'll bring my gimbal. You guys want to go with me, and I'll give you a tour of the place. It is an amazing bar. I love it here. It's my favorite bar in the world, and it's in Kaohsiung. And the owner's really cool. Right from the very beginning when I was using Periscope, he downloaded Periscope and watched me scope, his bar. He's really into it, and I can do whatever I want. Shirley says everyone else. Oops, let me look at this again. Everyone else is having cheap liquor. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, we have to pay a lot for beer. That's true. That's true. I noticed that the liquor prices in Indonesia were really high. Yeah, I was kind of shocked by that, but no comment. Anyway, so I'm going to go to the Cowboy Bar tomorrow night. I'm going to bring you guys along with me, and you'll end up loving this bar too. And the owner, his name is Johnson. He's Taiwanese. He speaks English, Taiwanese, Chinese, Spanish, and Japanese. And I've seen him serve his Japanese customers in Japanese. It's pretty amazing. Guy's really incredible. He's about my age. USD 25 for a glass of wine, or it should be a bottle of wine, right? Bottle of wine. Okay, yeah. USD $25 for a bottle of wine. Yeah, I understand. Well, when you come to Taiwan, we should pick up some stuff because it's cheap here. So tomorrow I can give you a tour of the Cowboy Bar. It's called the Western Cowboys Pub, actually, is what it's called. Not the best quality, it's cheap wine, Shirley says. Yeah, I understand. But it's still expensive. It's funny that he uses the term pub, which is a British English term, because it's really a bar. I just call it the Cowboy Bar. It's the Western Cowboys Pub is the official name of it. But he's got whiskeys going back to the 60s, and there's scotches. He's got some incredible whiskeys, and they should have Bootsy barbecue sauce there. Yes, they will. When we get going, they absolutely will. And I've talked with Johnson about it. He's open to it. And Johnson himself is the one that controls the kitchen. That's why over the years, I've been going to that place for over 10 years, because my wife introduced me to that place when we were dating. And the food has been extremely consistent. And he told me it's because he tells the chef how to make the dishes. So yeah, so he's ready for it. Anyway, back when I used to smoke, I don't smoke anymore, but they got Cuban cigars, and it's really nice. And it is a smoking bar, and I don't smoke, but that's the one place that I go where I don't mind the cigarette smoke, because it just is such a cool place. So I'll bring the gimbal, I'll set it up on the bar, and I'll give you a tour of the place. I'll introduce you to some of the people, and He has like one young lady that started working for him out of high school, and has been working for him for something like 8 years, you know. And it's a good gig. It's a really good gig. It's a nice place. Now let me show you this again. Let me do this. Sorry about the arm. This looks a little bit crooked to me. There we go. More like that. What do you think of that view? On the other side of that building is the Dream Mall. We can't see it right now, but there is a Ferris wheel on top of the roof. And of course, people come out here for exercise and they walk up and down here all the time. And that's an actual pier right there that you can walk out on fish. They got, I think, 3 of them. Is it 3 or 2? 3 of them? Yeah, it is really calming. Yeah. I think, gosh, you know what? I didn't notice. It's either 2 or 3 of these little piers you can walk out on and stick a line in the water and catch a fish. So for those of you who remember last year when I was down here, very much like Periscope, but you couldn't see it in HD like you can see it now. That's when I put Coco Roach on the wall. I did not bring Coco Roach with me this time. And Coco Roach's little sticky foot is not so sticky anymore. It's too late. It's too long ago. Yeah, so the sticky foot doesn't work. I can't stick Coco Roach on the wall. Everybody did. Remember, I was ignoring it. I was acting like I didn't read it. People saying there's a roach on the wall, and I acted like I didn't see it. You know, in the comments. It was hilarious. And all of a sudden I look back and I grabbed it. I wonder how many people believe me, because I said it was a Taiwanese chocolate roach, and they're really good eating if you can capture them. And if you remember, I grabbed it and put it in my mouth and acted like I was eating it. Shirley says she noticed that John Ho has reduced broadcasting significantly. John Ho is broadcasting privately more. I'm on John Ho's private scope list, and he's broadcasting a lot of privates lately. I don't know why, but he wants to talk to he wants to talk to a smaller group. I don't know. I think what I would tend to do, if that was me, is I would still make an open broadcast, but I would limit the chat, maybe like that, if you just want to do it that way. But he's still on. He's in private mode, and I guess you can't see him. So, but I just re-upped. These cheap scotches are just not very good. And there's a gazillion of them. I got to add some more soda water to this. And there's a gazillion of these cheap scotches. Yeah. Oops, sorry about that. I hit the clamp. Sorry about that earlier, guys, you know, when I was futzing around with it. So, yeah, Stephen has been. Shirley, I think I told you that Dr. Sears has invited me to participate in a telomere study. That's where he tries to lengthen telomeres and reverse age. And his office that I have to go to, his wellness center, is in Royal Palm Beach, Florida, which is very near Stephen. So we should drop in there. You know what I'm saying? I should go to Royal Palm Beach, Florida, get my blood work done and all that stuff, and meet Dr. Sears. And I think you might want to meet Dr. Sears too, because you read his book too. And then we can drop by and see Stephen. I think that would be very good for Stephen. Be good for me too. Be a nice, encouraging visit. Okay. Wow. Well, that's really close. See, I grew up in Florida, but I grew up on the West Coast. I'm a Central West Coast baby. I was in St. Petersburg My parents moved to St. Pete in 1959 when I was 3 years old. I still remember, at 3 years old, I still remember looking at the foundation for my parents' house that was being built. I still remember that. That's pretty cool. I can tell you how they did the foundation. Now that I've grown up and I'm an engineer, I can explain it to you. But it's pretty interesting. It's a cinder block house, and they did not drive pilings into the sand. It's basically sitting on the sand. It's pretty interesting. But there were some cracks that appeared in the house as the house settled, obviously. Terrazzo floors and an oil heater in the center, because you know how Hong Kong and Taiwan houses don't have heat? We don't have heaters in these houses here. Florida houses have minimal heat. We had simply an oil burner in the center of the house that was with a blower that was supposed to blow in the hallway, basically, of the house. It was supposed to blow the heat, you know, throughout the house. So it's pretty interesting. Way, way different than in New England, where you have the steam radiators and a boiler in the basement, you know, and you've got to fire the boiler somehow. Yeah. I like this better. And I'm going to go to the left again and get rid of the... There you go. I like this better. My favorite childhood memory. Shirley's asking me, what's my favorite childhood memory? Gosh, you know, I never really thought about that. I'm going to have to table that for a while. I had some bad memories. My parents used to fight a lot. They ended up getting divorced when I was 10. But early on, I had some pretty interesting memories. I remember when I was 2 years old, I remember my mom carrying me outside the house. This was in Buffalo. And she showed me that they had just painted the house. And I remember touching the paint and getting paint on my hand, and I remember that the color was dark green. But I think my favorite childhood memories are my mother's parents, Grandpa and Grandma, on the farm, we called them, because they had a farm. They had a dairy farm. And in the late 90s, before my mother's boyfriend passed away, we went back to that farm and found it. Shirley says that her favorite is when her mom let Shirley and her siblings shower in the rain. Oh yeah, that must have been fun. That's really cool. Yeah, you guys are very poor, and that's why you're determined not to be poor now. I understand that. But you know something? With family, these memories and things that you have with family, you don't need to have a whole lot of money, really. I mean, you don't have to have money at all to have a good family memory. But this, in 1999, I think it was. No, wait a minute. It was 1997. We went back. It's Ogdensburg, New York, which is on the border with Canada, right on the St. Lawrence River. And we found the farm, and it's actually owned now by someone who knew my mother's family. So we knocked on the door, and we introduced ourselves, and said that we were from the Lunderman family. And the guy says, oh yeah, I know you guys are, and he let us right in. And in the pantry, the old cast iron, in the kitchen, I mean, the old cast iron wood-fired stove was still there, and I thought my mom was gonna have a conniption fit. She started crying when she saw that. She grew up with that. And we went out to the barn, and the barn has all birch beams holding the roof up, and they're unhewed. They still have the bark on them. I remember that. But he said the barn was unsafe to go in. It was going to be condemned. But at that time, I should go back and check it out. At that time, he said he was going to rebuild it. I should go back and check it out and see if he wants to rebuild it. Maybe I should help him with that project. But that was really cool. So I think my favorite childhood memories are visiting upstate New York and visiting that farm and my grandparents on the farm. But they died when I was very young. By the time I was 6 years old, they were both gone. But I remember he had a pony called Dinah that I used to ride. And let me tell you something interesting about my grandfather. His name was Lunderman. It was his name. I believe his first name, I believe his actual name was George. But anyway, here's the thing. They were right on the St. Lawrence River, and he was into sulky racing. He actually raised sulky racing horses. This guy was a horseman, a horseman's horseman, like I've never known before. And he invented a type of horseshoe that had cleats on it, specifically designed, excuse me, I'm burping, specifically designed for a horse to be able to run or walk on ice. And he used to have sulky races on the ice, on the St. Lawrence River. That's what he is known for. He invented that. He invented the sulky racing on ice because he invented the horseshoe that had the cleats on it. So that's something, a little Wikipedia thing. Probably not even in Wikipedia, probably a lost fact. So whenever I went there, he had these champion horses, these race horses all the time. And I remember my Uncle Kenneth, my mother's brother, was a really big, portly guy, Irish guy, big, portly Irish guy, rotund. And he would sit on a sulky, and he would run those horses up and down those hills around there until they were sweat and foam. And that's how they trained the horses. And so when they got on that flat track, they could run like the wind because they've been carrying fat Uncle Kenneth around on a hill all this time. So that's how they trained him. Now I remember one summer I went back to the farm, and my mother's other brother, Rolly, I'm not going to comment about Rolly, but at Rolly's farm they had a rodeo. And I will never forget this. A horse broke his leg, and my father picked me up and took me into the barn, and he wouldn't let me watch, but I heard a gunshot. They had to put the horse down because he broke his leg so bad. You know, when a horse breaks a leg, I guess it doesn't heal that often. You know, in the Old West movies, right? When you watch the Old West movies and the horse breaks a leg, they always shoot him, because it's a humane thing, because it's hard for him to heal. My father said that the horse was all done, he was finished, and they put him out of his misery, is how he said. And yeah, they took a rifle back there and blew his brains out. But they wouldn't let me watch, and I'm glad that they didn't. Of course, you know, when you're a little kid, you want to see everything. Let me tell you one other thing that I do remember. I don't know why, Shirley. I don't know why they can't dress it and splint it, and I don't know why. I would need somebody who is an equestrian expert to answer that question. When I was a kid, my grandfather, my mother's father, was such a joker. He did all kinds of stuff. Like there was a big rodeo that they had in that area, and you know how they would let the cow out, the calf out of the chute, and then the horse and the rider would come out and try to rope it, and you know, whoever got the shortest time roping it won. Yeah, Shirley says she thinks she would need a psychiatrist after that. Well, for some reason, when I was a kid, it didn't bother me that much because I didn't see it. I think that's why it didn't bother me. I know Phoenix would be bothered by that. If she knew that the gunshot killed the horse, she would be very bothered by that. But my grandfather, during one of the main rodeo competitions, he released a goat instead of a calf, and it was hilarious. But he used to tell me, see, the dairy cows used to be in the farm. They would be hooked up like with something around their collar to keep them from moving. They would be eating, and the milk machine would be hooked up to them, and there was a trough behind them, and they would lift their tail up in the air and they would defecate. And so my mother told me, and I don't remember this, but my mother told me that my grandfather told me that when the cow's tail lifts up, he's taken your picture. And my mother said that she has a memory of me standing there smiling with this grin on my face while a cow's tail goes up and he defecates into the trough. But there is another thing that I do remember. I do remember being really small and tripping and falling into that trough. of cow pies, and they had to clean me off. Of course, I wasn't that. Yeah, it was really funny. Yeah, yeah. My mom and I had a really good laugh about that. The trough was probably about halfway up my body, and I fell into it. So anyway, I do remember that. I do remember falling into the cow trough. Shirley, I'm glad you asked me. This is why live shows are so great. Yeah, who wouldn't laugh about that? Yeah, you're right about that.